The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown. Markets for Monday, the 16th of May, 2016, are currently trading with gold at $1,272.20 an ounce, silver $17.12 an ounce, Texas crude $46.21 a barrel, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at about 458 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 1918. The Sedition Act is passed by U.S. Congress, making criticism of the government an imprisonable offense. An expansion of the Espionage Act of 1917, it banned speech and the expression of opinion that cast the government or the war effort in a negative light, of course excused by the perceived interference with the sale of government bonds. The end of free speech in the U.S. during wartime. Today in history. In recent news, a Texas openly gay church pastor, Jordan Brown, wrote in a statement today that Whole Foods, the company, did nothing wrong. This is after he back in April had requested a cake from the all-natural organic grocery store with the phrase "Love wins" on it, but then claimed that he received a cake with an added homophobic slur. Brown said in the statement today, quote, "I want to apologize to Whole Foods and its team members for questioning the company's commitment to its values, and especially the baker associate who I understand was put in a terrible position because of my actions. I apologize to the LGBT community for diverting attention from real issues. I also want to apologize to my partner, my family, my church family, and my attorney." Whole Foods filed a countersuit against Brown and hasn't stated whether it would drop the action now that Brown has dropped his frivolous lawsuit. The University of Miami has detected a radioactive isotope produced by nuclear reactors in Biscayne Bay, spiking at 200 times higher than normal level at the Turkey Point nuclear power plant located just south of Miami, confirming suspicion that Turkey Point's aging canals are leaking into the nearby national park. South Miami Mayor Philip Stoddard, who is also a biological science professor at the Florida International University, told the Miami New Times, quote, "You would have to work hard to find a worse place to put a nuclear plant right between two national parks and subject to hurricanes and storm surge." Laura Reynolds, an environmental consultant who worked with the Tropical Audubon Society and the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy, which intends to file a lawsuit, stated that, quote, "We know now exactly where the pollution is coming from, and we have a tracer that shows it is in the national park. We are worried about the marine life there and the future of the Biscayne Bay." This leak comes only several months after New York Governor Andrew Cuomo acknowledged that the state's Indian Point nuclear facility was leaking tritium into the local groundwater. The Indian Point nuclear power plant is located on the Hudson River, approximately 25 miles north of New York City, and serves the electrical needs of an estimated 2 million people. This is Rick Brody with your lowdown for May 16th, 2016.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. I have a joke for you.
Hey?
The government in this town is excellent and uses your tax dollars efficiently.
Pay attention.
Vous faillites les camps. Comment
Bitcoin is immune from attack, or almost completely. With Bitcoin, you actually gain far more from using the computing power to generate Bitcoins.
There's a system approaching perfection. Just in time for it disappearing. There's a system approaching perfection. Just in time for it disappearing.
We'll walk deeper into the belly of the beast. If it means I'm able to further limit reckless government spending. I mean, I have so many ideas. Some are simple, like take down traffic lights and eliminate the post office. The bigger ones will be tougher, like bring all of this crumbling to the ground.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Crypto Show, a show about disruptive technology, currency, and liberty, with a pinch of sticking it to the man. As always, we come to you live from the real heart of the resistance in Austin, Texas, deep beneath the Chase Bank, with a stack of Bitcoin miners at our back, undermining the bank and the man. We bring to you the latest info from those hacking away at the digital revolution and having some fun while we do it.
I feel so unsure as I take your hand and lead you to the... What happened to the music?
I don't know, but I knew that would put you in a good mood. So.
Oh, thanks, Danny. I always appreciate that. Always reminds me of Serge, the sax player on YouTube. Just look up Sergio Sax Player. And he's this guy who goes around shirtless playing saxophone. And the only song he plays is Careless Whispers by George Michael. Or maybe it's a Wham. I always forget.
Whatever.
Either way, it's George Michael. Well, guys, welcome back to the Crypto Show on this lovely Sunday, May 22nd, 2016, here on Logos Radio Network. We are brought to you, as always, by our sponsors, Hill Country Home Improvements, the only roofer that I know of that not only accepts but prefers Bitcoin, and Brave New Books. And you can check out the sister websites of Brave New Books, bravenewbookstore.com and the bitcoinbookstore.com. At the bitcoinbookstore.com, you can find over 50 titles concerning Bitcoin. Now, they're not just titles. You actually, when you pay for the titles at the listed price, you get the text for free. That's right. You pay for the title and you get the text for free. The full text in physical format, tangible book. What a deal at the bitcoinbookstore.com. You can also check out bravenewbookstore.com. The main.
Oh my.
Thank you, George. Takai. Thank you. I was thinking like Tanaka for some reason. I don't know why. Thank you, George Takai. Man, I was such a Trekkie, too. You'd think I'd remember that immediately. BraveNewBookstore.com, where you can purchase many of the products available in the bookstore online. If you can't, for some reason, make it to the bookstore, you can also check out the events page there for upcoming events, including the Appreciation Day at Brave New Books, which is going to be, I believe, was it the 28th? Let me lift it up real quick.
Something like that.
I believe so. Let me just make sure.
It's the 28th.
Oh, you could have told us earlier. That's going to be, that's not it. Actually, I guess it's not listed. So it should be the 28th of this month coming up. That's next weekend, next Saturday. I'm not quite sure what time, probably 7 p.m. That's usually when stuff like that starts. Our guest is also going to be featured at the bookstore. And actually, we'll find out from him when that is. But before we get to our guest, I don't want to forget to mention our third sponsor, Crypto Compare at CryptoCompare.com, who brings us the Crypto Compare News Minute every Sunday at the top of each hour.
May not actually be a full minute.
May sometimes exceed a full minute. All right, so I'm going to start out with a Crypto Compare news bite. Gitcoin exchange gets hacked. Gitcoin has lost $2 million from its hot wallet after being hacked. The safeguards put in place by using cold storage multi-signature technology were bypassed as the hackers routed new deposits directly into the hot wallet. 185,000 Ethereum and 250 Bitcoin, representing 15% of funds stored with Gitcoin, were lost. With security limits working, a hot wallet breach would have resulted in only 5% of funds lost. Was that the same headline from last week?
I think, yes, actually it was mentioned last week and it's being mentioned again.
Okay, just making sure that that wasn't a redundancy. But that is from the latest Crypto Compare News Minute update. Just making sure. I had a little deja vu there for a moment. And so we'll come back maybe in the next segment with another. I might spread it out a little bit. Actually, the Crypto Compare News Minute is a little short, but a little too long to have because of the second item. But I might come back in the second segment with the next item. Split it up so you get a little more suspense coming your way. I know that's how you like it, listeners. I know that's how you like it. All right, well, let's talk with our guest.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Or at least allow myself to introduce my guest. Marco Rodin is his name, and you can check out. Is it Rodin or Rodin, like the sculptor?
In Mexico, it's Rodin. Every country accents its syllables, its vowels differently. So I just say Rodin.
Rodin? Marco Rodin. Mm-hmm. And you can check out his...
Rodin. No rodents allowed.
No rodents allowed?
Rodent.
No
Don't
rodent.
put a T on.
Oh,
Don't
rodent.
put a T on.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm glad you said that because I was fixing to go there.
That's so good. You two are of the same mind. I like it. Marco Rodin. You can check out his YouTube channel, Marco Rodin, and that is Marco with a K. And I thought I had your website pulled up, but it looked now defunct. What is your current website?
I just have a link to my YouTube channel from markorodin.com, markorodin.com. And on my YouTube About page, it has my text and voicemail contact phone number, a short rundown on what I work on. And that's really where I'm going to put things, is on my YouTube About page. So if people would subscribe, they'll be able to there's very little up and available right now. I need a good web designer. And until I have that, I'm still trying to chisel away at things.
Gotcha. And so I definitely want to find out who you are and why you're here on the show. But is your information primarily in video format? Are there any places to get maybe several articles, or do you mostly do video format?
Video is the king of any media, I believe. I think radio is probably the hardest of all medias, but I guess you guys are up for challenges.
Well,
because,
that's flattering.
Go ahead.
Tell us more. No, I wish it was the hardest. I mean, I appreciate you saying that. I don't think it's as difficult as video, because obviously video,
it's the hardest to organize.
It might be, maybe because of its
for me, but
because you do all the hard work. Yeah. Well, Marco, tell us a little. I don't really have a bio for you, so tell us about yourself, and tell us what topic we've got you here for.
Boy, you're giving me a lot of ground. Okay. I'm supposed to stay on focus and to the topic, speak to the topic, which is breakthrough technology. Your original question, though,
we're not talking about, and we're not talking about smell-o-vision either, right? Just kidding, but
or sitting in a theater and having breezes blown down your neck. It's a scary moment, or being pummeled with ultrasound. No, in fact, yours. And first of all, I want to thank Brave New Bookstore for having me speak Friday, the 27th at 7 p.m. This week, where I'm going to be presenting a live demonstration of this breakthrough technology, if I can. It might be video broadcast from another country, because there's certain other things happening. But to answer your first question, if you type in the word Rodin Coil, RODINCOIL, and if you had 5 years, you couldn't watch all the videos that are up on YouTube at any given moment. They're not from me. I did a blueprint, a diagram, a schematic of a funny symbol. It looked like a VW. And I did a mathematical puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle, like a mosaic, in the form of a donut, which is called a torus, T-O-R-U-S, or toroid, T-O-R-O-I-D. But my specialty is not a toroid. My specialty is colloidal, higher dimensional magnetic flux fields that are used for fusion and plasma confinement. And in the future, what I work on is propulsion systems, space power propulsion, using the nozzle of the donut, which is the hole, as a transportation vehicle, as a propulsion system. Now, the saying is the secret of the donut is the hole. And if you type in Rodin Coil, the key buzzwords are, I'm a founder, I pioneered, it's existed since the beginning of creation, and it'll exist to the end of time. It's a part of math that has nothing to do with standardized mathematics, which are only created so we can communicate and be on the same page. I found the missing link between mathematics and physics, the mathematics of the universe. And so it's called vortex-based mathematics. It's spelled V-O-R-T-E-X, next word based, and then mathematics. And that's a key good search. The Rodin Coil, R-O-D-I-N-C-O-I-L, 2 words on YouTube. It'll give you a lot of options, levitation, LED lighting. Most of the profound videos have been taken down because people who invest want to protect their investment and they don't want it shared up there. I did the blueprints, I did the schematics, I did the original toroid number maps, which piece numbers together, and I was able to prove that numbers are real, that nature's expressing herself with numbers. How it affects Bitcoin, we'll have to find out, and how it affects financial transactions.
Yeah, only time will tell in that regard. Well, we're coming to break in about 30 seconds. We're talking with Marco Rodin. Quite a lot to digest there. We're going to try to tease out the various filaments, if you will, of everything he just said, and explore a little more some of the interesting terms he threw out, like Rodin Coil, vortex mathematics, the missing link between math and physics, an interesting new propulsion system, although he says it's been there since the beginning, and a whole lot more. So stay tuned. We'll be right back on the other side.
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
This is what happens when you call the cops. Say what? This is what happens when you call the cops. Come on. This is what happens when you call the cops. You get your rights violated or you all get shot. This is what happens when you call the cops. This is what happens when you call the cops. This is what happens when you call the cops. You get your rights violated or you all get shot.
I'm sick of people being victimized by criminal cops. Psychopathic predators terrorizing neighborhood blocks. Equipped with pepper spray, mace, cuffs, tasers, and glocks. They like serial killers acting out subliminal thoughts. Forget what you taught. These cops have got a license to kill. Witness intimidation means that they can use it at will. Go to silence means that the pigs will never let out a squeal. And if they go to court, they know the judge will make them a deal. For real, that's why they stopping me, locking me up and stopping me, confiscating my property, talking in my demography, making the poor commodities, profiting off of poverty.
Hey, Beavis, speaking of donuts.
This is what happens when you eat all the donuts.
He said donuts. We were like talking about donuts in the first segment. Well, speaking of donuts,
we're talking about donuts going into the break, and then the next
cop song comes out.
It's about the popos.
That's synchronicity right there. That's
got to be.
That's meaningful.
That couldn't be planned or pre-programmed,
right? No, unfortunately, that's our usual intro song. Can't take credit for some startling
no
coincidence there.
No synchronicity there.
No, unfortunately. Well, speaking of donuts or toruses or toroids, three-dimensional geometric figures. Towards, it's interesting because it's not the first time I've heard of the torus being a significant mathematical concept with respect to some more fringe elements in physics and energy. So this is pretty exciting stuff. I'm always been very open-minded about stuff like this and very interested in it and find it fascinating. So we're glad to have our guest on, Marco Rodin. Check out Marco Rodin on YouTube. That's his YouTube subscriber name, and you can pull up a lot of his videos there. You can also pull up Rodin Coil on Google, Vortex Mathematics, and a lot of these keywords and key phrases will pull up either information about him and his work or related stuff. And just to reiterate, he is going to be at Brave New Books this Friday. That is the 27th at 7 p.m. to talk about the Rodin Coil. It will be a live event, so be sure to make that. Should be pretty exciting.
The vortex is pretty prolific all the way across nature with flowers and just, everything you look at, there's a vortex involved.
That's true.
So I want to hear what his connection is and how this connects to math.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
not math.
Not math.
Right.
Well, Marco, I know off air you wanted to talk about prime numbers, but we can always, if you want, you can.
We can go into the vortex thing after we get through with the prime numbers.
So we're throwing a lot of stuff out there. So just to give people, I guess, a little hint at some of the stuff you are involved in investigating. So I guess let's go to do prime numbers. We can come back to vortex math and everything else and delve into that. But go ahead and tell us what you were saying about prime numbers off air.
All bank wire transactions every night, billions, potentially trillions, are encrypted with prime numbers. All military, all governments, all corporate communications are encrypted with prime numbers. Am I exaggerating, or is that correct?
No, and more importantly, Bitcoin transactions.
Okay, well, I obsolete all prime number encryption and security. Totally obsolete it. In other words, it's useless. Which is very serious.
Yeah, no, that would be very serious. If that is true, that is definitely a big deal because, like you said, that's the basis for all major encryption systems, whether it's financial, Bitcoin, or just general informational use throughout the world. And a lot of people have been concerned about the possibility or potential for quantum computing to crack present-day encryption, or maybe some new math to come along and do it. And there was a recent memo by the NSA that left people kind of wondering if the NSA had something up their sleeves about that. But how do you obsolete prime number encryption? Can you tell us about it?
I don't like talking around the subject, so I'm going to see if I can jump into the waves, immerse myself in the ocean, and actually specifically explain the answer, why and how it's obsolete. It might be very, very difficult for everyone to follow, and I might want to start on a very slow approach. I think how you explain things is you start with the present day state of the art, and then how you enhance or improve over it. What major alteration you make, right? So sure. I'm going to start by where we're at today. Today we use the binary code for everything. It's the backbone of computers. That's why our RAM is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Our hard drive, our processor, our software. Everything's based on digital, which is considered to be tree, 1, 2, 4, because as things do a chain reaction, it's called a combinatorial explosion, they are actually, or going through gates, they are actually simply splitting or doubling, which are reciprocals. Did that make sense? I'm not going to repeat it, though. I'll continue. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
The binary code is considered to be a duality, positive and negative. It's
yes and no.
Two-dimensional. Well, fair enough. It's everything we understand on the binary code today is two-dimensional. It's flat, but it's not flat with depth. I have a letter from the director of Microsoft, and do you have a way to host things if I send you documents? In fact, you do have the document. It was sent by my personal friend, Rebecca. You have the letter from the director of future operating systems at Microsoft saying that the discovery I made was three-dimensional in math, that I had found and pioneered and discovered a form of math that was completely missed by all conventional math, that never existed before. You know the letter I'm referring to? No?
Danny would have it if we do. Have you received that?
I'll pull it up.
I'm going to ask, not now, we don't need it, but I'm going to ask that you host that on your website, and maybe give that a location now where you're going to put it. And then that anybody who wants to access the peer review of what we're discussing that I've received from the director of advanced operating systems and future operating systems in Microsoft, which is the most technically advanced aspect of computer science. He devoted his life to my work. So would you host that for me?
Yes, I have all of the documents she sent. Which document is it?
It's this from Microsoft, Blake. It's saying, we can go over that after the show and I'll show you which letter.
Okay. We can.
He's generated hundreds, if not thousands of pages based on my work.
Okay.
No, that's interesting. If what you say is true, that he endorses it and has delved deep into it, that's quite. That would be quite an endorsement. We'll definitely discuss that after the show and check it out and see if we can include that with show notes and stuff on the webpage. You're saying that binary numbers are two-dimensional, and you've discovered a three-dimensional aspect to numbers. I mean, can you clarify?
Is that the maybe aspect of yes and no?
There is no maybe.
Third, yes, no, maybe.
Oh, yeah. No.
Okay.
There is no neutral. There's no maybe. It doesn't work that way. That's mankind. Is blind. They don't even know what to look for or how to do it. The existing billions of dollars invested into quantum computers today is you might as well use it to light $100 bills to light cigars. It's going down the wrong path and the wrong direction. The whole basis of probability is bullshit. I am allowed to say bullshit. That's as far as I'll go.
Well, you can't say that. Can't say that here, but okay.
Is bull poo poo.
There you go.
I like that better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bull poupon.
Bull poo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. That's certainly an interesting state. Well, we're coming to break. So I want to give you a full chance to flesh out some of what you said. There's a lot to talk about. Vortex math, numbers is nature expressing herself, torus, geometry, renewable energy. I do want to give you a chance to talk about prime numbers and binary math and digital computing, and get you a chance to clarify some of what you said, such as the two-dimensional versus three-dimensional nature of math.
Have a
what's
request.
That?
When we come back, I guess we're going to break now. Would everybody who's listening, who's interested, get a couple pieces of paper, like copy paper, and a pen and pencil, maybe even different colors, and I will demonstrate that the binary code is not.
Be right back.
Warm cookies and milk, what a great combination. But cookies and the internet are a recipe for privacy invasion. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be back to tell you why you should regularly delete cookies from your computer in just a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Cookies are bits of data stored on your computer's hard drive when you visit a website. Some cookies are harmless, but many websites use so-called tracking cookies that can monitor your internet behavior and create a profile of you secretly. This is especially problematic when you're tracked at search engines like Google or Bing. Your search records can reveal a shocking amount of personal information, like your interests, your medical conditions, and more. You can configure your browser to automatically delete cookies or never accept them in the first place. There are also programs for deleting trickier tracking cookies called flash cookies. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, encouraging smart surfing and the use of more privacy-friendly websites like StartPage.com. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What you gonna do when they show up in black suits on your street in army boots and there's silence here? What you gonna say when they strip your rights away?
All right, guys, welcome back to the Crypto Show here on this lovely Sunday, May 22nd, 2016, here on Logos Radio Network. Brought to you as always by Hill Country Home Improvements and Brave New Books, where our guest, Marco Rodin, will be giving a presentation this Friday at 7 p.m. And,
and everything you thought you knew was a lie.
Everything.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
And that was Barry White. No, I'm just kidding. That was Morpheus from The Matrix. I love that. It's one of my favorite clips from any movie, one of my favorite movies. Well, we're talking with Marco Rodin, and who claims, among many things, to basically have revolutionized math and physics and energy production. And we're talking to him about all sorts of different aspects of that. Now, there's a lot to talk about, Marco, but I do want to get back and sort of get a little bit more specific about prime number cryptography and how you've made that obsolete. Can you dive into that a little more and explain how that works?
I want to follow your lead, and I am going to let you steer my course of the conversation that we're having. It turns out that prime numbers, the definition for a prime number, my favorite movie about them is Prime. I mean, Contact with Jodie Foster and everybody. We've all seen it. It's an old movie,
that's great.
Contact.
Yeah, with Matthew McConaughey, and she's searching for her dad, and that gets transported to another part of the universe. That
finds Optimus Prime instead. Wait, wrong movie. So.
Yeah, no, it's a great movie, definitely.
You see, I don't want to be dry, and I don't want to be sterile in discussing prime numbers. Part of the beauty of that movie was it opens with going through the universe and ending up in her as a young girl in the pupil of her eye. And the logo for Brave New Bookstore is the all-seeing eye on the top of the pyramid on the back of our dollar bill. And what I'm able to mathematically harness is omniscience. God is considered omnipresent, all-seeing. I found where numbers come from, what numbers are, and why they exist. I was able to tap into an emanation on the z-axis, and it emanates on prime numbers. Turns out that the definition of a prime is not 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. It turns out that 1 and 2, that the first true prime number is 3. And 3 squared creates mod 9, which is base 10. What happened to the 0 is 0 is not a part of a base. That's why base 10 and mod 9 are the same counting system. They taught us that base 10 comes because we have 10 fingers. I'm going to be a little bit more sterner. They lied to us when they said that it's arbitrary. We can count in any base number counting system. That there's hexadecimal, base 12. That's false. A true base number counting system must be generated by a prime number being squared. The name of my video on this topic is called Prime Number Squared, the Creation Equation. And what I'm able to do is I'm able to take 3, square it, which makes 9, which is our counting system, 1 through 9. And I'm able to raid those numbers around a circle. I am then able to demonstrate that the binary code is the decimal system, is mod 9, and that there are 2 separate, completely not connected. They occur at a moment of event occurrence. They never touch on the same dimension or plane. 2 separate counting systems that are helically woven together. The base 10 system is not one system. That's why you, Danny, and you, Chris, can't calculate things without mathematical enigmas and unsolvable problems, such as endless non-repeating decimal numbers. And that's why pi is an endless number, non-repeating decimal. And that's why there's imaginary numbers. That's all fictitious. It turns out that there is a solution to everything. There is perfection. There is ideals. There is absolutes. There is fixed constants. There is an axis, a spindle, a control, which is just like a gyroscope. with preferred frame of reference. And every number, every function, every calculation, every branch of math, I have been able, with the contribution of my team, to piece together into a single branch of math that is whole and complete. It's unity, with no omissions, no duplications, no redundancy, no error. If there's ever an error in anything I'm discussing right now, and it's not my error, if it's not a man-made miscalculation, then the system is discarded, it's thrown away. Because I've literally found the missing energy in the universe, the missing gut equation. It's called the grand unified field theory, the gut equation. A single way to look and see everything, know where it is, past, present, and future, and to harness it, to tap into the fountainhead, the spring, the well, the unresistible source of creation. And if you were to take this energy away, the universe would instantly become destitute and void. It's constantly being renewed. It's spraying out in all directions omnidimensionally. And so let's go back now. Let's get a little grounded and let's try and get our feet back on the earth. So let's go to, Danny, you pulled up rents.com, Rodent Aerodynamics, a page there.
Yeah, Chris did. Hold on. I just have a bunch of stuff open. Where did I put it? Yeah, actually, I was gonna bring that up and then ask you about something else. But yeah, rents.com/Rodent Aerodynamics. You can find a pretty good, what looks summary of a lot of what Marco Rodin talks about. It's neat. It's sort of a
person who wrote that was an Austin graduate, honor student. So it's a good summary.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty awesome. But it's interesting stuff. You know, it looks like just an intersection of math, geometry, physics, and metaphysics, and definitely food for thought. There are various points he brings up on here. Do you want to find
the first man alive that could ever combine surface topology with remedial arithmetic? What I was able to do is I was able to obsolete calculus and algebra, formulas and equations using ever-changing approximations of the physical constants. I was able to identify the touchstone, the day star, the true physical constant of the universe, and that generates every calculation, every motion, every numerical physical relationship. Go ahead.
Well, and speaking of which, and we are coming to breaking in less than a couple of minutes, but I do at least we can start on it. You know, as Danny said earlier in the show, a lot of things are a vortex. You know, in this list on rents.com, it says how everything is a torus. And, you know, that I think a lot of people are at least familiar with the fact that certain geometric, certain patterns repeat throughout the universe in unexpected ways, whether it's, you know, the Fibonacci sequence or toruses or various other patterns. So I want to know, as we come back, why the torus is so important and why vortexes are so important, how that relates to math.
I can't answer that yet because I have to answer your first question. And your first question is I'm going to show you why the binary code is obsolete. And that requires a pen and paper. Then we'll make that the second question.
That sounds good. Well, I guess we're jumping the gun a little bit then. Well, so we're talking. We're coming to break, so we'll get to that on the other side. Marco Rodin has a demonstration for us to perform that we can do here in studio with the pencil and paper about why binary numbers aren't binary. Is that right? And then we can get into building from that.
My friend Lazar calls it a binary triplet. Mm-hmm.
Binary triplet, I like that. And we'll build from that to find out more about his grand unified theory and all these other interconnected ideas. So stay tuned. He is going to be giving a presentation at Brave New Books on Friday, this Friday the 28th. So don't miss that. And we'll be right back here on The Crypto Show.
Easy.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Crypto Show here on this lovely Sunday, May 22nd, 2016, here on Logos Radio Network. Don't forget to go to logosradionetwork.com and donate. It is listener supported, and thanks to you guys and all your support over the years, it has brought some wonderful programming to your ears for a very long time. It has changed a lot of people's hearts and minds about a lot of cool topics. Speaking of cool topics, we're talking with Marco Rodin about kind of everything, math, physics, metaphysics, God, the universe, and how it all intersects. And Marco, I had thrown a couple questions out there for you that were kind of jumping the gun because you were kind of getting to those questions from more basic principles. So let's continue with that. We were talking, I think we were starting back at binary numbers and how that relates. Do you want to continue from there? Marco, are you there? Marco, are you there? Oh, okay. Looks like he dropped. Do we want to reconnect with him? Okay. Well, while we wait for Marco, again, if you want to check out his stuff, you can go to YouTube. His YouTube channel is Marco Rodin, MarkoRodin. Seems to be pretty prolific at putting out his videos on his topics. So check those out. Now, I will say, what everyone may think of his ideas, and of course, we're still trying to get his take on all that. And there are some resources out there besides YouTube, as I mentioned. There's a rense.com/rodinaerodynamics.htm webpage that seems to have a breakdown of some of his ideas, at least in part, and a list of some of the claims he makes and some of the consequences of his ideas, and some cool graphs and stuff to illustrate some of the points. One thing I like about any kind of free thinking is that, well, just exactly that. Thinking outside the box, thinking laterally, thinking in a heterodox kind of manner, not letting dogma be the guide of one's thinking and doing and acting. And I mean this with respect to everything, but even math and physics, because even math and physics, though they are considered very rigorous and pure fields of knowledge, which to a large extent they are by nature, they are still prone to dogmatism and prone to politicizing and all sorts of human error that any other field of knowledge or any other idea-based system can fall prey to. And this is because we're all human ultimately, and we all are imperfect and don't, even those of us with high reasoning capacities fall prey to our emotions and our biases. And sometimes you just have cloudy thinking, and all it takes is an error at the base of your thinking, at the base of a logical construct, to make your whole system invalid, even if the reasoning otherwise is perfect. And so I definitely applaud people who have alternative ideas and are interested in expressing them to the world, and who do so maybe in the face of heavy criticism and backlash and certainly disagreement. And so Marco Rodin is certainly one of those people, and you can judge for yourself his ideas by checking out his YouTube channel, as well as rense.com /RodinAerodynamics.htm. You can also look up Rodin Coil. And because I've tried to bring up this topic before many times. Go ahead.
What I want to know is if you can break the encryption, can I go onto the Bitcoin network and find the biggest wallets and send him these wallet addresses and get him to break that encryption for me so I can steal those Bitcoins?
Well, that's a good question. If you can break it, I would definitely like to be in on some of the cash there, Bitcoin, dollars, or otherwise. No, not really, because that would be theft. American government. No, but certainly
the government will come and ask, "Why did you steal those Bitcoins?" I learned it from you, Uncle Sam. I learned it from you.
Just like Ron Paul used to have in his congressional office, "Don't steal, the government hates competition."
Right.
That is so true. Well, it looks like
I'm in.
All right, here we are. All right, he's back.
Okay, Danny, Chris.
Yeah.
I want to allow me. I want to go back to very, very fundamentals. And I know we're talking to, God, you must have at least, I would say, about 15 million listeners on right now. But I want to address my conversation only to you two. I want you to be the surrogate. I want you to be everybody's avatar, because I don't think their good audience will ever follow me unless both of you walk down this path. Well,
we're here on this path with you. We've got
We all three walk down it together. Would you?
Well, that's what we're here
Do you
for.
have a paper and pen?
Yes, I think Danny does.
Yes.
Yeah, there he goes.
Draw a circle. The audience can do it as you're doing it, but I'm interested in what you see when you do it. Put at the top of the circle 9, and like a clock, go 1 through 8, evenly spaced around. It doesn't matter if you're off a little bit.
Now, do you mean
draw?
Do you mean clockwise? Do you mean
Yes, clockwise. Clockwise would be good. Mm-hmm.
So like 9, 8, 7, 6 kind of thing?
Yeah. Pretty simple.
Okay.
I think
I'm going to show you your death trap. I'm going to show you why you can't calculate why there's a hole, a backdoor hole in Bitcoin and everything else. Okay?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. So you now have 9 numbers. That's because 0 is not on a circle. 360 does not go to 0. It then goes straight back to 1. If 0 was there, it would be a radian. It would offset everything. It would deflect, and it would cause an error in the calculation on the circumference of a circle. Because as we all know, in The Lion King, it's the circle of life that's unbroken. I just thought I could throw that in.
I like it. I like it. Go ahead.
So in the binary code, which is we're going to, I guess, what's a bit? I'm going to do 1 bit at a time. We're going to draw a straight line from the number 1 to the number 2. 1 God, 1 universe, and 1 devils. 1 becomes 2 using computer, software, hardware, biology, the classical music scale, middle C is doubling, 512, next octave, next C is 1024, and then 2048. Everything we know in our universe is based on clefting, or which is really because of positive emanation, cutting, which is really doubling, because
So
things are cut and swing.
Are you kind of talking about the sort of mystical idea of duality and how the monad... Huh?
There is no duality. It doesn't exist. It's an optical illusion. There's no male and female. There's no black and white. There's no yin and yang. The minimum parts of anything is 3. It's an optical illusion. The third part, spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, metaphysically, tachyon, prana, inertia, ether, dark matter, dark energy. It's real. It exists. It's the control, and it's always in the center. It's the source. And the duality, male and female, black and white, is to be in sync, is to harmonically couple with it. That's how we reach it. There's nothing horizontal. Everything's a diagonal. Everything's a vortex. Everything implodes, explodes, spirals because of this linear emanation, this above the known elements, superluminal particle in the center. Let's just continue. Number 1 goes to 2. You did draw that as a straight line, correct?
You did.
Number 2 goes to 4. Please add that straight line now. You're done practically, because the only number after 4 has to be what? 8.
8.
That's right. Now, we're counting inside a circle. We're not around the circumference. We're going through the mountain. We're not on the perimeter. We don't have to go around the mountain. With vortex-based mathematics, with this discovery, I can count to 1 billion in under 11 steps. No computer can do that today. So we're going to go to the next number after 8, which 8 doubled is 16. But we don't have a 16 on that circle. We only have 1 plus 6 equals 7. In computer science, it's called decimal parity. But it looks like numerology. It is not superstitious. It is not based upon frivolity. So what happens is, if you count from 1 to 16 on that circle, after you pass 9, there'll be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 8 connects where? It goes straight to the 7, which is a mirror of the 1 to the 2, but inverted. Next number after 16 is 32. And where's the 7 go to? Please tell me. Has to go to the 5.
32, 5, yeah.
Yeah, which is a mirror of the 2 to the 4, but inverted. Now, where does the... okay, so we went to 8 to 7, 7 to 5. What's the final last space you have to connect? 5 to 1. Because 32 doubled to 64 is 10 is 1. So you went 8, 16, 32, 64. And you completed this Mobius, the cycle, the lazy 8, the infinity, the, what's it called? Lumicasium? I forget the term for it.
Oh, it's me.
It's spelled L-U... Anyway, it doesn't matter. You've just shown that infinity is not a straight line. It's a lazy 8. It's a circuit. It's a closed system. It must be maintained closed. If you break the circuit, it won't work. Today, it is not a circuit. Today, we think infinity just goes on forever. That's bull poop. So let's continue.
Bull poop. Well, interesting ideas. Well, we will continue, but we're coming up to another break. There's always too many of those in the show. But
let me throw in one. After
we have 5 seconds, so save it for the other side. Marco Roden, we'll be right back. guys, to the Crypto Show here on this lovely Sunday, May 22nd, 2016. And can our existing paradigms be trusted? Can what the people in power and the people in the various priesthoods of knowledge be trusted with what they hand down to us as truth? Well, I would say that it is always important and smart to have a skeptical mind, to be open-minded to other possibilities and ideas. Well, before we get back to other possibilities and ideas with our guest, Marco Rodin, let's not forget one of our sponsors, Crypto Compare at CryptoCompare.com, with the Crypto Compare News Minute. And the next little tidbit we have for you is the DAO at 161 million. The DAO project has raised 11.42 million Ether. And that's Decentralized Autonomous Organization, for those who don't know, has raised 11.42 million Ether, 14% of the total supply, or in US dollar terms, $161 million. Not too shabby. The DAO Venture Fund is now in the ratcheting phase where the number of DAO tokens received is increased from 1 to 1.5 Ether per 100 DAO. The rate of Ether allocation to the DAO has slowed with 900,000 or 8% Ether pledged in the last week. For next news bit, Trezor Wallet to allow Ether. Trezor Wallet is to be adding Ethereum functionality. Recently, Gemini Exchange has added Ethereum support, and OKCoin is rumored to be doing so. This trend is now moving into the hardware wallet space with Trezor Wallet, as their GitHub repository is showing Ethereum integration coming soon. All right, we'll have some more news bites in the following couple segments. So, of course, stay tuned for that. But also, stay tuned for our interesting as ever guest, Marco Rodin. Check him out, MarkoRodin. That's the name of not just him, but his YouTube channel. And we are utilizing a little sort of online tool at rense.com/Rodin aerodynamics.htm. It's a web page illustrating some of his ideas, literally illustrating. In fact, what he just had Danny draw, I just found a little prettier demonstration of than Danny's was. That's the worst circle I've ever seen. But Marco, let's get back to it. There's something also on here about the Enneagram, which I found interesting. The Enneagram, I know, is at least in part from ancient Egypt and was represented their 9 original gods, and of course was a essentially a 9-sided polygon or star or circle. But if you want to get into that, you can. But take us off going with what you're telling us.
Okay, first of all, you guys are really great. I feel like you're a glove to my hand. You make this really smooth like silk to me. It's really enjoyable.
You don't need to turn this romantic, Marco. Okay, we're just...
I'm not embellishing. Number 2, we've already got 50% of our time. So we're almost out of time. Number 3, I'm speaking Friday night, 7 p.m., Brave New Books. Hope everybody comes. My talk then is going to be a demonstration of a new technology that will light up a home, run everything, the refrigerator, the air conditioner. It's over Unity. It's called the Rodin Coil over Unity Energy Amplifier. It doesn't seem that it's connected to what we're talking about, but it is.
And hopefully we get to see that connection, and you can maybe explain a little bit before Friday night's performance on Air Force how it works. But keep going.
Okay. I asked if I could do a prayer, and I didn't do it at the first segment. So can I do it now?
Go for it.
Thank you. It seems that you guys, your community, the whole group of you, are about change and upheaval, violent free change through peace for an ever-advancing civilization of man. And I second that. And I'm giving you guys all my power and ability to stand behind you and support you in those goals and purposes. Okay, here's my favorite prayer. You ready?
Go for it.
It comes out of the Baha'i faith, Baha'i scripture. Most people don't know the religion. You can Google it. It's spelled B-A-H-A, then there's an apostrophe I, Baha'i.
Actually, I used to have... Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I had some Baha'i friends. No, I had some Baha'i friends over many years. I went to some Baha'i functions. They actually took place at the local Dell Jewish Center of all places. But they were Iranian friends of mine. Actually, my one friend was the first Iranian allowed into the country after the hostage crisis under Carter.
Wow.
But yeah, I actually have read some of the Baha'i scriptures. I mean, I have to say, Baha'u'llah, his writings were very interesting, like very scholarly and spiritually interesting stuff. So, check out Baha'i. It's an interesting faith, and at least in my experience, they were their followers are very nice people. So anyway, go ahead.
I wasn't going to go down a detour, but I will say that all the math I know, all my knowledge, everything that I have accomplished came from decrypting what's called the Most Great Name of God, the Word of God, the mystic precise information. It turns out that Arabic, Aramaic, Farsi, Hebrew, the alphabet, it's called Abjad, A-B-J-A-D, Abjad numerical notation. I learned all my math from an ancient Eastern system where the Aleph represents God. It's always number one. The Ba is the number two. It has nothing to do with the order and sequence of the numbers and the letters. It has to do with the fact that they teach that the language, that the sound, the name embodies the essence of what it's describing. It's a spiritual language. I'll leave it alone. I don't want to go there. It's too much. I want to now say the prayer. It goes like this. Be thou the people of hellfire, but be not a hypocrite. Be thou an unbeliever, but be not a plotter. Make thy home in taverns, but tread not the path of the mischief maker. Fear thou God, but not the priest. Give to the executioner thy head, but not thy heart. Thus doth the holy reed intone its melodies, and the nightingale of paradise warble its song, so that he may infuse life eternal into the mortal frames of men, and impart into the temples of dust the essence of the Holy Spirit and the heavenly light, and draw the transient world through the potency of a single word into the everlasting kingdom. And that's a prayer for all the people that have died in the last year trying to hold on to their, let's just call it ground, and keep from losing any more ground. And that's a prayer for all the people that looks like are going to die in the years to come, because it looks like it's just warming up.
Yeah, it does look like it's just warming up. I know what you mean. What's an interesting prayer? Was that original to you, or what was that from?
Well, no, that's sacred Baha'i scripture. That's considered divine revelation from Baha'u'llah, out of the Baha'i faith scriptures.
It reminds me kind of a quote from, I think it was St. Augustine. Do not despair, one of the thieves was saved. Do not presume, one of the thieves was damned. Sort of this treading of the paradoxical things in life, you know, be among taverns, but don't be home among taverns, but don't be a mischief maker. You know, like, in other words, you know, be at peace and be who you are wherever you are, but don't let that mean you become a rabble rouser like you would be among in taverns, etc. It's interesting. It kind of captures that dual essence, which I know you say is an illusion, but is still kind of part of our perception of life. But anyway, interesting prayer. Thanks so much for that. Go ahead and continue for us.
Okay. I have one goal right now is to show that the binary code is not binary, that it's on a triangulated net, that it's based on thirds. So if you go backwards on that symbol that we just drew out, half of 1 equals 0.5, half of 0.5 equals 0.25. As you see there, 5 connects to 7, and 2 plus 5 equals 7. Half of 0.25 equals 0.125, 1 plus 2. There's no point in me slowing down. I'll just cut through it. Half of 0.125, well, 0.125 equals 8, and 7 connects to 8. That is a track. It's called the longest mean free pathway of least resistance. All energy follows that path as it moves into the future. I know it doesn't make sense what I'm saying. Half of 0.125 is 0.0625, which equals 13, which equals 4. You just pass the 0. That X point is a 0. It's a hole. That's why if you try and bisect a circle, you can't, because math and numbers are perfect. There's a 0 in the center of every circle. It's offsets. That's why a circle is part of a hypersphere. That's why a torus is called a hypersphere. That's why a circle is called a hypersphere when it's properly done in the fifth and fourth and third dimensions combined. The truth is, if you get the third dimension right, the fourth and fifth, every other dimension ensues and falls into place on its own automatically, and you don't even have to worry about it. So a half of 0.0625 equals 0.03125. 0.0625 was 13 was 4. 0.03125 is 11 is 2. In other words, that pattern, 124.875, 124.875, there's only 6 numbers in the binary code using the decimal system before the pattern repeats. The binary code is like a Monopoly game. It's a horse track. It's not infinite. You don't need more transistors in every processor. Intel offered me the moon. I didn't take it for this discovery. Randy, a good friend of mine and an expert on vortex-based mathematics, will be presenting and discussing, and he can go into greater depth because he actually had the meeting with Intel when they were interested in my discovery, showing that the binary code is a circuit. I'll continue. 3, 6, 3, 9, and 6 never, ever touch 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. The angular relationship of the binary code, it is displaced, it is strewn, it is offset, it is deflected by the 3, 9, 6, which is a flux field. You leave it alone. That's the second part of the decimal system. The decimal system is not one part, it is 2. When you separate the 3, 9, 6, that's why Nikola Tesla is reputed and so famous for saying, if you knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9,
6, and 9.
Of the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wondered about that quote. I came across that recently. Well, I don't want to get sidetracked. Do continue, but we are coming to break.
because you're in charge. I've said enough. I know you now are firmly entrenched and aware of that there's something here that you've never seen before, and that's enough for it then to take on a life of its own. So I'm done. Wherever you'd like to go next, I'm with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, and wherever you want to go next. But as we come to break in about a minute, basically I'll have you answer on the other side. But you spoke of Tesla, and I actually had a question about Tesla, basically what you thought of his work, whether known or unknown, and whether he was maybe aware of some of these ideas, which it sounds like you think he was. And then I'm also curious if you think there were others who may have been aware of some of these ideas, such as, the secret societies. And I had a specific question related to that. And
you're such a good host. Now I'm going to tell you how instead, but you'll probably cut me off mid-sentence, how this obsoletes Bitcoin encryption. Because this was the first true prime 3 squared, which has the binary code is the decimal system. You never knew that before. And you never knew it was generated by 3. So with me, the next prime 5 generates the next base number counting system. Can you still hear me?
Can still hear you. We're coming to break. It's a lot to swallow, a lot to compute, but we're going to do our best with Marco Rodin. Stay tuned, guys.
This is the Logos Radio Network.
For the longest time. For the longest. If you said that Bitcoin was my line, I would tell you. Show enough. Show you right. What else can I do? I'm so inspired by you, and I'm just holding for the longest time. Once I knew my stars.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Crypto Show. We still have 3 segments left with our guest, Marco Rodin. That's MarkoRodin. Check out his YouTube channel of the same name, and there's a ton of videos there for explanation of his ideas. Definitely very dense and very heavy stuff, but we're trying to make our way through it with the master himself. And you can check him out if you missed the live airing of this show. Of course, we do have archives of all our shows on our website, thecryptoshow.com. But he is also going to be giving a live presentation at Brave New Books this Friday, May 28th, 2016, I believe at 7 p.m. So check that out. And I had a couple of questions for him as we were going to break, and we're going to get to that here momentarily, as well as continuing with the general trajectory of his ideas. But before we get to that, I do have to not neglect the Crypto Compare News Minute. So let's get into that real quick. Coinbase adds Ethereum and rebrands. Ooh, I didn't know that, actually. I've been meaning to get some Ethereum, actually, or Ether. Coinbase are adding Ether US dollar and Ether Bitcoin trading pairs on the rebranded exchange GDAX, Global Digital Asset Exchange. The company will initially add support to the exchange, part of its operations, and later this summer will roll out the functionality to all users. Adam White also mentioned that the company was looking at other assets to tie into its platform going forward and hinted at the DAO inclusion. Wow, that's pretty cool, actually. That's I think the most interesting part of this news minute. Russia Bitcoin ban bill withdrawn. The Russian Bitcoin ban bill, say that 5 times fast, has been withdrawn after comments from the Ministry of Justice. The bill, drafted by the Finance Ministry, looked to classify Bitcoin and other digital currencies as money surrogates and enact harsh penalties for their use. That's interesting. So I guess kind of like the silver dollar here. What was that guy's name? I don't remember. But basic Liberty Dollar. Thank you. Nikita Soshnikov, partner at Moscow law firm Tolkachev, told CoinDesk, the Finance Ministry has not provided the appropriate justification for criminalization of cryptocurrencies and its public danger as an essential criterion for criminalization. The draft is broadly worded, therefore, a wide range of activities regarding e-currencies can potentially fall within proposed money surrogates definition. In that quote, I had to throw in an article there. Russian has no articles, so it's always funny when you have an otherwise perfectly worded quote. And finally, the price movement. So we'll just kind of get it all out of the way for the rest of the show. Our final Crypto Compare News Minute. Bitcoin has seen some weakness with the price falling 4.4% for the past week. Ethereum has risen strongly in the back of continued adoption by business and press on the back of the DAO launch. The price is up 45% for the week. Darn it. I keep meaning to buy some. I keep missing all the price jumps to 0.0332 Bitcoin per Ether or $14.10. All right. That was our Crypto Compare News Minute, kind of drawn out over the course of the show. I like to switch things up like that. Well, we're getting back to our guest, Marco Rodin, who's waiting patiently while I finish that up. Well, so Marco, two quick questions then. Did Tesla have some idea of this stuff? And then, do you think any of the secret societies and sort of powerful networks that have, largely run the world or parts of it, throughout much of history have been aware of some of these ideas? I noticed with your diagram that you made us draw, now I know this is stretching a little bit, but it vaguely is reminiscent of a compass and square. And, there was another, there have been some beautiful explanations done of certain Masonic or otherwise occult symbols having to do with science, or the more metaphysical aspects of science, including by this guy Miles W. Mathis, where he explains how the compass and square relates to gravity. And it could just be fanciful thinking on his part. But anyway, tell us about Tesla and secret societies and whether they've known any of this stuff.
Yes, it is all about a gravity lens, a gravity wave, how it works. It's all about, the EMF, electrical, it's all connected to gravity and spirit. It's all connected to, it's all one. Everything's one. Everything's unicity. One universe, one God, one humanity, and one mathematics, one energy, one monetary system that's not manipulated. Well, that's a little bit too far-fetched, I think.
Probably. Unless it's Bitcoin.
I honestly am flesh and blood. I'm mortal. I'm like anybody else, and I have my pensivnesses, things that I avoid. And one of them I do avoid is something that Tesla actually strove for. With people who've read his autobiography and studied on him a little, he was devising, and developing radio and submarines undersea as weapons of war, be it defensive or offensive, but they were nonetheless, they were for destruction. Are you still with me?
Yeah.
I can't do that, and I refuse to do that, and I won't do that. My best work, which I'm not going to talk about today, is my work in microbiology and genetics. It's stunning how it affects age reversal, how you can end disease, produce unlimited food. Also, my favorite topic, which is done. It's solved. That's what my demonstration will be. Here's the plug. Friday night, coming up this Friday at 7 p.m. at Brave New Books. I am going to be showing how you can have underground plant nurseries and have unlimited electricity, okay, and all of the proper healthy spectrums of light and how to grow them.
Now, what kind of plants are we talking about?
I'm only talking about, I actually don't smoke, drink, don't get high. I don't smoke weed. I'm very anti, and that's, a great way for me to offend everybody, but I don't give a bull poop. I grew up in a drug culture and come from that. That's my background, psychedelic, hallucinogenic, surrealistic, abstract. And I can definitely say that you don't ever attain cosmic consciousness by vices, by crutches, by any kind of addiction, whatever it be. My favorite saying, the most addictive thing in the universe is television. The hardest drug is to unplug. And you'd have a lot more listeners tonight and a lot more followers who understand what we're talking about and saying if they could just wean themselves. They say with TV, they say it's not the message, it's the medium. Obviously, for you guys to do what you're doing, you obviously are very disciplined in many regards.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but thank you.
Yeah. I personally was, my dad taught me that you start taking pills and you never stop taking pills. When I was a child, they wanted to put me on psychotropic medicine, and my dad refused. And I'm thankful for that. There's a singer named Wildman Fisher. That's a trivia tidbit. He was definitely nuts. He did a merry-go-round the song. Anyway, the day they put him on medication was the day he never sang again and never wrote a song again. And prior to that, he was singing everywhere he walked and everything he did. So I'm very much against opiates. I'm very much against Suma. Would Prince just die of Percocet? I don't. The worst drug that I do that everybody faults me for is I'll do honey or sugar. Okay. And jasmine green tea.
Well, that's not too bad.
You haven't seen it yet. Maybe you'll change your mind. Anyway, it's a mute.
No, and I respect that. I mean, we advocate cannabis legalization, it doesn't mean that we absolutely advocate its use for everybody all the time.
Richard Pryor said it best. He said the only war, the only justice is just us. The only war on drugs is against us. I would legalize everything across the board. Anytime you create something as a controlled substance, you put it in the wrong hands.
Right. No, I absolutely agree. But, we're coming to break with Marco Rodin. Stay tuned. We still got 2 more segments. We'll be talking with him. Be right back.
Has the U.S. government ever spied on you? What's the government up to anyway? You can find out the answers to these and other questions with the power of FOIA. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be back in a moment to tell you more.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
The Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, gives you the right to obtain records from federal agencies. Making a FOIA request is easy, and it's usually free. Just write the agency with details about the specific information you want. Most agencies even accept FOIA requests by email or fax. You can request information about a wide range of government activities, unless the information is protected by an exemption or involves classified documents. And while the government is supposed to respond to your request within 20 working days, don't count on it. In my experience, most items take much longer. For more information about the FOIA process, visit www.foia.gov. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Trails.
Looking for some truth? You found it. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
I've been walking a tightrope between fact and fiction. Been wrestling with demons in small bottle prisons. Been talking to sinners who claim to be Christian. Been shouting at leaders who claim to be listening. And the pendulum swings from the left to the right. Its momentum increases the need for the fight. Like a moment of blindness and a lifetime of sight. And I am caught somewhere in the middle. Of his people, saw a camel pass through the eye of a needle, saw a group of old men whose money was evil, saw a cross breaking free from the cage of steeples, saw beggars and cripples dying in squalor, a son whose sins had exceeded his father, saw a nation of sleepers.
All right, guys, welcome back to the second to last segment of this episode of The Crypto Show on this awesome Sunday, May 22nd, 2016, here on Logos Radio Network. Brought to you as always by Brave New Books, Hill Country Home Improvements, and Crypto Compare with our Crypto Compare News Minute. And we went through all those news minutes, and we'll have more for you next Sunday to update you on the world of cryptocurrencies, thanks to Crypto Compare. And if you haven't gotten yourself some Ether, you should probably do so. The price has gone up quite a bit, maybe dollar cost average into it. I know I need to. Man, I should have gotten some a while back. I could have made a ton of money, but oh well, it's not what it's about. It's not what it's about. No, but we are talking with our guest, Marco Rodin, MarkoRodin. That is his the same name of his YouTube channel, so check it out. And you can also go to renz.com/Rodin aerodynamics.htm to get some explanations and diagrams and all sorts of stuff related to his ideas to give you a little bit more of a visual take on what he is talking about, on what you otherwise have to kind of imagine for yourselves as you listen to him explain stuff. Now, Marco, I want to, let you take it where you want, but I do also want to know more about what we keep talking about, but never really getting into or getting much of an explanation beyond, just the very basic. What is this Rodin coil, and how does it fit into everything?
Okay. The Rodin coil is why I'm coming to Austin, and why I'll be there throughout the entire month of June. And what it has to do with is that the engineers and group of people that I work with have completed making a working model prototype of an energy device that obsoletes all conventional fuels, all known fuels to mankind. On top of it, it's portable. very small, does not pollute, does not, it would save the environment. It has no greenhouse gas. It is a two-sided sword. Everything is. It can be used for peace, or it can be used for destruction. And everything is a coil. Our body's a small coil. Our protein folds in a coil. Our solar system is, the Milky Way is a coil going around a black hole, spiraling vortex, imploding in. And they named it the Rodin coil. It really isn't my invention. It really isn't anything to do with me, to tell you the truth. The fact that it works now, the fact that it's finished, the fact that anybody can duplicate and replicate it independently, the fact that it can be mass-produced, the fact that it makes everybody their own self-contained, portable energy source. You can take it anywhere in a briefcase and have unlimited energy. It's not on YouTube. I have a video with me. I'm bringing of it. I'm going to hopefully do a live stream broadcast as well with the working model being demonstrated. My goal in coming to Austin is to is a couple fronts, and I'm probably instead doing this the opposite of what my purpose is. My goal is to figure out how to keep everybody alive who's worked on it and made it. That may be impossible. My goal was, but there is going to have to be some kind of level of protection, or it's doomed.
So, are you concerned about the powers that be or people behind energy companies threatening you? Is what you're saying, because of how revolutionary this is and how it could upend the need for other conventional energy sources?
I might preface it that that there has never been any threats, and they're not my primary concern. Like Exxon, Shell, Texaco, BP, whatever. No, they're definitely a problem, but no, they're not my first concern. I've, from experience, found that people who want to capitalize, control this, and make money on it are the biggest threat. That could be anybody. You never know where it comes from. I've been around more millionaires and people who have billion-dollar companies that can't respond to anything unless it's to increase their financial bottom line. Okay, so it's very hard. And everybody wants me to commercialize this. Everybody wants me to market it. And I certainly believe in free enterprise. But as we know, that doesn't exist today in anything, in reality. And that's a harsh statement I'm making, but I'm not going to go there right now. But when you can't get a patent, which you cannot on perpetual motion, free energy over unity, or on a disruptive technology or a game-changing technology, I've never applied for a patent. I've never applied for a grant. I've never tried to copyright this. I own nothing, and that suits me perfectly. So I'm actually coming to Austin to give it away freely, the discovery, the technology, and to hope that it survives, even if I don't. Now, because... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's pretty magnanimous of you, and if this is what you say it is, it would definitely be important to share it so that it does survive. And it's pretty neat that this is sort of the world debut, it sounds like, for explaining your technology, since you said there aren't any other videos really on it online. But go ahead, what were you about to say?
There's literally tens of thousands of videos showing many things online, on YouTube, under the Rodin coil. But showing a true free energy over unity device that can power 5-ton air conditioner, no, there's nothing like that on YouTube, and that's what this is capable of. So it's a big deal.
How does it work? When I think of coil, I think of the fact that when you run an electrical current through a metal coil, you get a magnetic field, and vice versa. Is it at all based on that principle, or
it's the opposite? That's okay. Yeah, pretty much. It's all the same. I don't use a permanent magnet, and I don't use an iron core. I don't use brushes. I don't use commentators. My device ultimately is solid state, and there's no moving parts. It's like Ray out of E.T. out of the movie. It's sci-fi. But it's still fundamental relationships of electricity. It's actually the relationship of magnetism to electricity. But the magnetism is the only thing that responds quick enough to give slippage and free play to spirit. Spirit is an emanation. Has a phasing, a tempo, and activation sequence. You can call it if you want. I heard you say ether today. Well, there's a thing called the inertia ether. It's a vector. Spirit is not static. It's irresistible, penetrates everything. You can call it, the God particle, Solton, dark matter, dark energy, the missing energy in the universe that everyone's looking for. I don't want to explain how I see it and how I know where it is and how I harness it and tap into it, because it's just going to make everybody's head spin. But I will suffice to say that I've pioneered an imaging tool that allows me to know the precise proportion, ratio, and relationship and recipe. Content.
Well, we're coming to break the final segment with Marco Rodin. Sorry to interrupt, but we'll talk more with him in the final segment coming up. Stay tuned.
Easy.
Wait, he's doing a rap, right? I'm sorry, wrong rap.
Unless he literally meant that, I don't know. Welcome back, guys, to the final segment of the Crypto Show here on Logos Radio Network, brought to you as always by Brave New Books, Hill Country Home Improvements, and the Crypto Compared News Minute. And, of course, at Brave New Books this Friday, Marco Rodin, our guest, will be giving a presentation, I believe starting at 7 p.m. on the Rodin Coil. And it should be a very fascinating and interesting event. So be sure to check it out and try to make it down if you can. And he was just explaining the Rodin Coil and all of the various concepts that go into it. But Marco, you said that you maybe had a way to sort of tie it all together.
And the 89th person that comes in gets a free one, right?
Carl's Jr.
No, gets a free Rodin Coil.
Yeah, exactly. So, come for the door prize at the very least.
You'll have to make it yourself.
And a signed glossy from me. 8 by 11.
He's got like 2,000 of them stacked here at the bookstore. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's fascinating stuff, Marco. A lot to wrap your head around. I like the sort of metaphysical turn it takes. I've definitely done some study on that, or at least esoteric matters over the years, just out of interest. And I know that it ties into a lot of the most important scientific principles, if only because historically scientists were into esotericism, metaphysics, or the occult, even up to the present day or close to it. So I think there's a reason for that. I think that science has been divorced from its metaphysical partner, and that science is worse off for it, not to mention the rest of us. But yeah, tell us more about the coil or anything else to kind of sum up this whole couple hours we've had.
Okay. If I succeed when I come to Austin, I'll be able to create a curriculum and give a course at the university to the students. I'll get the support of the faculty and the students. I have a part of my supporters, my students, top corporate engineers and top professors already. Austin is more well suited for my project because of the fact that, one, because of your mindset of growth and change, which is probably the most important, and two, you're very advanced at the university in technology, especially R&D, in all branches of science, from electrical engineering, power and propulsion.
Except for we don't have any ride sharing. We're so far behind the times. We have no Uber or Lyft.
Yeah, Uber and Lyft left recently because of a silly vote here in Austin to get rid of them. But anyway, he was, yeah. So
the tech hub that we are.
We don't have ride sharing apps. Go figure.
The dean of transportation for the university in Las Vegas wanted to write a book based on my work. He said that I had solved Maxwell's equations mathematically. Indeed, Maxwell postulated that there must exist a monopole to symmetrize all his electrical equations. I have a technology that will give us everything we want in a matter of months. if we can get it to survive there. And my toehold that I need is to collaborate with, to have a facility and to have students and to teach. And if I teach, then I don't have to depend on such good fortune like you two who have asked me such good questions and carried the ball and kept the momentum going. I can do a book and a video, and I can do a curriculum. There's very little work by me online. And my goal is to put it into a movie and into a textbook, into a curriculum on all levels, high school, university, elementary school. And that's really what my goal is, why I'm coming there. To do that, I'm not accepting investors in the normal sense. I'm not offering stock. I'm not offering shares. I can't use a business model on free energy. And all the millionaires and billionaires, and I have many friends that court me. I've turned them down because of the fact that this is not for money. This is for the survival of our civilization. And it's for us to come out the other side of the gauntlet that we're in right now, which is a technology out of control, government out of control, society.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna. I've done nothing. I haven't sold out, and I've had multiple offers. All I'm trying to do is get this project to survive, and that's it. This discovery to survive.
I think that's very respectable. I mean, anything a person can offer to the world of science and to humanity in general, to either better our knowledge for knowledge's sake or to better our knowledge for our own future well-being, spiritual, material, and otherwise, is a very good thing. And I respect that you want to keep it as open source, if you will, as possible. And, I think it is important to create textbooks and full explanations, because that way people can obviously better understand what you have to say and take it more seriously, because unfortunately when people don't understand something, they tend to sort of dismiss it, even if that thing that they dismiss has a lot of value to it or potential for the power of explanation and whatnot and clarity. So, more power to you, and I hope it's very successful, your presentation, not just your presentation, but your endeavor while you're here in connecting with professors or students.
Slam dunk. Already succeeded just by you two both seeing just the thinnest little vision, just a glimmer of it. You saw that the Mobius, and my parting comments, my last remarks are this to both of you. You ready?
Go ahead.
Wherever you have the 396, you leave it alone. I just showed you that the decimal system, the binary code, is a coil. It's a schematic for the most advanced. There's not a coil today, a motor. You don't get electricity at your homes, in your car, in your building without coils. You can't see without coils. Everything is run by coils. Our society is based upon coils. Its survival is dependent on coils. The 396 is the flux field. You never touch it. You never put anything there. You just leave it alone. And you use the windings, the schematics. And that's what I have done, is I figured out the blueprint, the matrix, as Chris said, the lattice, the jigsaw puzzle, the labyrinth. What am I furnishing? I'm furnishing winding diagrams, building diagrams. Eventually, this machine will be made solid state. It won't even use copper. Copper is the least beneficial conductor. It's so unnecessary. Where this is going and what it's going to turn into is truly, it's going to turn into man will become intergalactic citizens. We're just having growing pains now. I'm very, very, very fearful about the insanity of the nuclear arms race. There's nothing I can do about it all. It's out of my control. But this is a new technology that obsoletes all conventional energy production, including nuclear. Okay, I'm done.
No, fascinating stuff. A lot of exciting things to discover as you watch his videos, and hopefully you can make it to his presentation again, as I said, at Brave New Books. So check out Marco Rodin. Google Marco Rodin, MarkoRodin. Marco Rodin is also his YouTube channel. And don't forget again, the rense.com/RodinAerodynamics.htm for a sort of list / diagram / explanation of some of the stuff he talks about, and some interesting assertions in the what I would call not a manifesto exactly, but a list of the things towards the beginning of that he purports to either explain or demonstrate or to give insight to or to state outright as very interesting things. We got 2 minutes left. I had a quick question, I guess, before we go. You say that pi is a whole number.
It's not an endless non-repeating decimal, correct?
And what is? There's this other guy, Miles W. Mathis, who claims that pi is equal to 4. I don't know how he gets to that. Is that the same in your case, or how do you explain that real quick?
I'd be interested in what he's thinking and where he's coming from. It turns out that there's always a hole. As anything spins, the faster it accelerates and moves. When a camera aperture closes, when you take a photo or opens, the photon, when it's closed, the aperture is blocked, but it never touches the aperture in the center because it's based on a spiral. It's a vortex. It may be small enough to block the light, but it still never touches in the center. It turns out that a hole is in the center of a circle. Math is so perfect. I'd have to explain how math works. It has what's called a self-calibrating fail-safe mechanism that automatically corrects itself that does not allow mankind to make an error. So idiot's not a swear word. And I have to say that all the mathematicians today that are taking pi farther and farther out to a bigger and bigger decimal into the godzillions, you're all idiots. Because that's mathematics language that you violated a tenet, a cardinal law of mathematics, and it by default threw you into a wrong answer. That's what an endless non-repeating decimal is. It keeps you from being wrong. Math is so perfect that it won't let you err. Math is so divine, so whole and complete, and so dynamic and alive that you can't
fascinating stuff.
Error.
Marco Roden, thank you so much.
There's a hole in the middle. It's called the HOLE in the hole. WHOLE. Thank you.